I am bipolar. I was diagnosed in 1986.
People with mental disabilities often have trouble leading productive lives or finding and keeping jobs. But for 50 years, one Chicago organization has helped thousands of men and women do just that. Eddie Aruza will tell us about Thresholds. Thanks for joining us. Here's what's happening in Chicago tonight. But first, mental illness is still misunderstood by many people. And when it comes to hiring someone with a mental disability, many employers don't want to take a risk. But for the last 50 years, a Chicago organization has helped tens of thousands of mentally disabled individuals find and keep jobs, while also helping businesses learn that these employees can be an asset. Here's Eddie Aruza with the story of Thresholds.
I am bipolar. I was diagnosed in 1986.
At 48 years old, David Stoll is finally fulfilling dreams that have been unattainable for most of his life. Stoll is a composer and pianist, and in May he began his own business as a music producer and recording engineer. But it's only recently that David says his life has stabilized. His psychological disability has been so severe, it's kept him from holding a steady job and even enjoying life.
To my knowledge, I've been bipolar pretty much all of my life. I can remember suicidal ideations as young as 10 years old.
For the last 7 years, David has lived on disability, incapable sometimes of doing even the most menial of daily chores.
Basically just walking into a market or someplace like that and just saying, what now? Yeah.
You just weren't able to do it?
Not well able to do things like that. And I'm better with that now than I was.
The big change in David's life came when he was introduced to the organization Thresholds, where, among other things, he met his employment specialist, Ray BELOIN.
And the client was happy with the result?
Oh yeah, the client was very happy.
Thresholds was begun in Chicago in 1959 as mainly a social club for mentally ill people released from hospitals.
At the time, if people were discharged from the hospital, there was a 70% chance that they'd be back in within a year. And a lot of that had to do with not having any supports in the community and not having a network of people to help people find housing, find jobs, find social connections. And that really is the basis of Thresholds.
From social club to social service agency, Thresholds has changed and expanded its mission over the last 50 years. With 30 locations throughout Chicago and more than 500 clinical staff members, Thresholds' objective these days is to help individuals like David Stoll have productive lives and enter the workforce.
We start at what they're interested in, and then we work from there to see about their skills, what additional training could they have. But we work very quickly as far as getting them into the job search rapidly.
But Thresholds also works to educate potential employers about hiring the mentally ill.
When I talk to employers, they assume people that have mental illness can't work, or they assume that they're going to be violent, or they assume that they can't be reliable workers. And the research points to quite the opposite.
On Chicago's far south side, the owner of a small hair salon recently received a call about a job opening posted in the window. The call came from 30-year-old ROSHAWNYA driver's employment specialist at Thresholds. It wasn't until owner Fannie Taylor met ROSHAWNYA face-to-face that she learned she had a disability.
I noticed right away that she was, sort of special. I was wondering if she really could do hair, because that's why I was hiring somebody for the spot to do hair and to make money. But then I realized that sometimes money is not that important when a person's life is at stake.
ROSHAWNYA, who has been diagnosed with attention deficit disorder and schizophrenia, is now in training at the salon. Sometimes she practices on a mannequin, sometimes she shampoos clients. But more importantly, she's being given the opportunity, stability, and understanding that were often missing when she was a child.
When I was in grammar school, I went to 4 different schools. And then I had to find the right school that was going to help me. Then after I went there, when I left Armstrong, I went to RISAL. I went to 2 different high schools in order for them to help me.
Roshawnia's mother, however, has never given up on her daughter. Gloria Driver also happens to be a volunteer at Thresholds.
Mental disabilities, they're a chemical imbalance. And with medication and therapy, all of that can be balanced out. Ignorance merely means not knowledgeable. And people are just not educated on mental illness. They don't understand it. And usually what you don't understand, you fear it, and then you misname it.
Thresholds calls the individuals they work with members instead of clients or patients, and members come from many different situations.
We may find people on the street who are homeless. We get referrals from private therapists, from psychiatrists, from hospitals, from family members. When this illness happens in a family, very often a family is very desperate and doesn't know who to access.
Thresholds believes that putting the mentally disabled to work is the best psychological medicine for their members, and David Stoll can vouch for that.
By being able to work, by working, that puts more focus into what I do. I think that it is a great stabilizer for me overall.
David is already getting clients. His newfound career as a recording engineer is featured on a new disc by the hard rock band Toy Boat. Roshawnya Driver lives with her mother, but would like to someday lead an independent life.
Eventually, I want to be able to do it all.
Have your own salon?
Have my own salon, but I know that's going to be a while before I can have it.
But with proper treatment and their newfound opportunity and support, Roshawnya Driver and David Stoll can now look forward to a future that once seemed out of reach. For Chicago Tonight, I'm Eddie Aruza.
And you can learn more about Thresholds on our website, WTTW.com/ChicagoTonight.